The movie opens up showing us 2099 when humans have developed the ability to alter genetics and DNA. The parents can change the kids' DNA or genes. Due to it, most of the kids will be smart and clever. They will be immune from the start so that they can't have any sort of heart disease or diabetes. Welcome to Movieland. Please help us grow by subscribing and turning on the notifications. It means a lot. Spoilers ahead. Enjoy. As a result, the person was able to live a healthy and fulfilling life. They have become smart. They were given the place of the first class in this world. On another side, some parents are shown they were delivering babies naturally. Without any modification, these kids were given the place of the second class in this world. They weren't considered good. Because they were the people who were born normally. They still have different kinds of diseases. Jerome is shown here. He was the mission navigator in the space agency named Gattaca. His strange routine is shown before going to the office. He used to tie a urine bag with his foot. Then he pastes a strange fingerprint layer soaked with blood. He goes to the office after all this. Before leaving home he uses to clean his desk and keyboard. One day, his boss tells him there will be a flight in Titan and he will be a flight navigator. He has to give some medical tests on it. When his boss leaves, Jerome puts the substances of dead skin on the keyboard. Then he puts some hairs in his comb and leaves for the clinic. He meets Dr. Lamar and he says to him, "My son idealizes you. He always admires you," and they start conversing. Later, the doctor asks for a urine sample from him. Jerome gives the urine sample from the urine bag on his foot. Jerome is shown as a valid individual in the test. It means a man from the superior class. Later, Irene is shown in the office and she was Jerome's colleague. Irene congratulates Jerome on his new mission. Jerome goes to his desk and discovers the office manager is brutally murdered. Meanwhile, the police arrive and they collect the DNA from the crime scene. Jerome's whole life is shown spent in front of him. Jerome's past is shown. Jerome's parents have delivered him naturally. It means he was born a second-class citizen. Through testing, they discover Jerome will have heart disease soon. He can only live for 30 years. His parents get an upset hearing this. They name their baby Vincent. The person whom we were considering Jerome, his real name was Vincent. His parents weren't happy with him. That's why they plan the second baby, but this time they think to modify the DNA genetically. The doctor tells Vincent's parents their baby will not be having the disease of heart or diabetes. That baby will be healthy and they have a second baby. His name was Anton. Because of alternating Anton's DNA, he was more intelligent than Vincent. Being younger than Vincent, Anton was growing speedily. His parents also like Anton a lot. In the next scene we see that Vincent gets angry with Anton and his parents. Vincent was interested in space and space travel since his childhood. He wants to be an astronaut. But his parents forbid him not to be an astronaut. Because he will die at 30, but instead of being forbidden by his parents, Vincent goes to give a test. He fails because of being a second-class citizen. His family also discourages him. Vincent gets depressed because of it. Then one day, they set a race of swimming and Anton uses it to win those races. Vincent thinks he can't lose always like this. He starts swimming. He moves forward than Anton soon. Anton gets tired because of swimming for a long time. He was drowning in the water. Vincent, who has advanced, returns to help his drowning brother. Everyone calls Anton superior, but instead of this, Vincent has won this race. This was the time in Vincent's life he can do what he wants. Thinking this, he moves while leaving his family one day. It was his dream to do a job in Gattaca. He starts his job in Gattaca as a janitor. Vincent wants to be something else. That is why, in his leisure time, he reads the documentation of navigation officers. He gets the basic information of navigation like this. He meets a man who will make his fake id. That man will give him the identity of a superior human while making his fake id. The ID of the human he will have. His name was Jerome Morrow. He has a smart IQ level and has smart eyesight. Jerome has superior strength, means he was a first-class citizen. He couldn't walk now, so that's why he was terminated from his job. Jerome has to sell his ID and Vincent buys his identity. It means now Vincent can do a job in Gattaca while being a superior human, means Jerome. In exchange, he will give Jerome money every month. Later, Vincent has to wear contact lenses always to change his identity. Because the eyes color of Jerome was changed from Vincent's eyes. Vincent makes his hairstyle like Jerome. His foot surgery was also done. Now Vincent was looking like Jeremy. Vincent goes to apply to the Gattaca Space Agency. He gives Jerome's blood sample during testing and passes the test. He becomes the navigating officer. Vincent has a different routine every day. He uses to do clean shaves every day to remove dead cells from his skin. We saw in the present Vincent was seeing the police. The police start scanning the DNA to get proof. The police get a hair of Vincent, but Vincent doesn't know this. He was certain that he would not be apprehended. He was about to leave for Titan soon. Irene also feels his behavior is strange during this. Irene steals Vincent's comb one day and tests the hair in it. Vincent was clever and he placed Jerome's hair there. Irene also sees Jerome's record on the test. Vincent and Jerome also become good friends. After testing, the police discover a man named Vincent who is invalid and a second-class citizen who works here. He used to do the job of janitor many years ago. Like this, the police start chasing Vincent. One day, Irene meets Vincent and tells him she has tested his hair once and apologies to him for this. She tells him her parents have changed her genes. Even then she is at risk of a heart attack. Because of it, she can't go on a space mission ever. Later, Irene and Vincent go for dinner. There was a checkpoint while moving. The police were looking into people's eyes to see if they were wearing contact lenses. Vincent understands and takes off his contact lenses. The police checked them and didn't get any proof, so they move forward. Vincent had spectacles and couldn't see clearly after removing the lenses. Irene takes him to a place and they see the sunrise. During this, Irene notices the eye color of Vincent is changed. On another side, the police confirmed Vincent, who does the job as a janitor, is now working as an officer in Gattaca. The police think to do the blood test of each employee. Vincent goes to give his blood and has taken a blood bottle from Jerome. He secretly changes his blood bottle from Jerome's blood bottle. He passes the test. On another side, the police think to test more employees, but this time Jerome's boss refuses the police. Irene and Vincent are shown spending quality time. Seeing this, Vincent and Irene run from the back door. Irene asks Vincent, "Who are you?" On another side, a police officer compares Vincent and Jerome's picture. The police officer understands that Jerome is Vincent. Even if he did this murder or not, he is living with the wrong identity. Now the police officer starts investigating while going to Vincent's desk. Irene sees all this. He goes to tell this to Vincent, but the police officer stops her. He takes her with him to Jerome's house forcefully. Vincent calls Jerome while seeing this. That's why Jerome makes everything fine at home. He lives in his house like Vincent lives in the office. Even their faces were a bit different. Meanwhile, the police officer arrives with Irene. Irene sees the real Jerome for the first time. The police officer takes a blood test of Jerome. His ID reveals as Vincent here. Meanwhile, the police officer receives a call that the real murderer is caught. It is revealed that the murder was done by Jerome's boss. Because the manager who died wanted to cancel Titan's flight. This flight used to take off once in 70 years. Jerome's boss doesn't want this manager to do anything wrong, that's why Jerome's boss has ended him. This case was solved, but the police officer still suspects Vincent. One day, he starts checking Vincent's desk at night. Meanwhile, Vincent arrives and asks the police officer why is he behind him? Does the police officer say, "Vincent, didn't you recognize me?" The police officer says, "I am your brother Anton." He informs Vincent that our parents died as a result of their guilt and that you are also dead. Anton asks Vincent to surrender in front of the police. You have broken the law and living with the identity of another human. Vincent says, "You want to see me losing my whole life. You are jealous of it, and today I'm living a good life than you. I have gained this on my own and I don't need any DNA. Anton says, "If you consider yourself powerful, why don't we do a swimming race again?" Vincent says, "Okay, if I will win you will spare me." Anton gets ready and they go swimming. Anton again gets tired and Vincent was going forward. Seeing this, Anton asks him, "You were about to die. How did you become this successful in life?" He tells him, "I am successful because I never doubt my hard work. That's why I find my way, because I don't believe any papers, only scientists." They were swimming. Meanwhile, Anton gets faint. Vincent takes him to the shore while escaping him. Now Vincent has won, so Anton spares him. Vincent finds Irene and says last goodbye to her, and he apologizes to her. He gives her his real hair. So she will recognize who is Vincent and what is his real ID? Irene refuses this while smiling, and in the last, Vincent goes to meet Jerome. Jerome says, "You are going on Titan, I am also going on a trip." He leaves many blood samples for Vincent. Vincent thanks Jerome because he has shared his life with him. Jerome gives him an envelope. Later, Vincent moves for Titan. He comes to the Gattaca office and meets the doctor. The doctor tells him about the new policy. There will be a blood test of them before going into this phase here. Vincent has to give his urine test. Vincent's real ID reveals here. The doctor tells him, "My son is inspired by you. Because he also wants to do a job in Gattaca. He was rejected even being superior, and maybe he will be doing a job here in Gattaca like you. The doctor tells him I know from the day first that his ID is fake. Here the doctor makes the invalid result valid. Later, Vincent moves into the spacecraft. Reaching there, he opens Jerome's letter. In the end we see that, it was written I failed in everything even being superior. No matter the science has made our life long and happy however, there is still something left for me in this life, which is why I am traveling so far. With it, Jerome commits suicide. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.